Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
This is Sparta!
Top news stories of the week. Time to find out once again with Megan Olson and News of the Week on The Al Travis Show.
If you're new with us, we get Megan in here every week to discuss the big news stories in Minnesota, those that have been tweeted, retweeted, whatever it is called, X'd, sent around, recopied, and we discuss. Megan, thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, happy to be back. I mean, special session chaos, so we're in the thick of it.
Permission for a side note before we get started? Just a little lesson I'd like to teach you.
As long as it's not sports or Taylor Swift, I will allow it.
You don't get old. So, we tape all this on YouTube, correct? And then I move it over to the Facebook during the commercial break. And I'm like, look at that. Everything is misty. And I'm thinking, something's on the camera lens. So I spent some quality time cleaning the camera up. Doesn't help. I realize my glasses have got smudge on them. Don't get old, Megan. It sucks. I literally was trying to fix the internet, and it was me. So don't get old, please.
Trying to fix the internet, and it was me. That's a good one.
I don't know if this hit you yet, but yesterday, Representative I think her name was, the Democrat here in Minnesota, if she didn't make national news yesterday, she is making it today, I guarantee you. Did you happen to hear her conversation?
Yeah, I did. I know
healthcare?
we talk about the top news stories of the week, but this one took the world by storm in the last 24 hours. I mean, national media looking at Minnesota once again. We've got all this buzz, on Twitter, Facebook. Everyone is talking about this specific representative's comments of saying, I am an illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country. And part of it, I think, was taken out of context. Part of it, maybe not so much. It was meant to be kind of a emotional plea to Republicans when she said this, trying to get health care for undocumented immigrants. But it wasn't a good thing to say. Even with the context, it doesn't sound good. And it's not even true. She is here legally, to correct the record.
But you're either wrong or you're really wrong. You get to decide. Because I watched this. I had it on most of yesterday in the background, and then something would come up. And this gal comes on, and she starts telling this big story about her parents out of Laos. And her uncle was helping the U.S., so he had the right to come here. They would take him back. That perked my interest. Okay, that's how you get in. But he passed her something, and her dad didn't have that right. He wasn't working with the CIA. So he fudged the paper saying her uncle was her dad, and she went into that. I'm like, what in the world am I missing here? So she goes, I'm illegally here. My parents are. Look at me. I'm the face of the people, the illegal immigrants. I mean, she was either really making a bad story up about what it means to be illegal, and I think it's quite different Laos and today, but either that's what it is, and she's looking for some weird sympathy play, or, like you say, she's here illegal and she knew what she was saying, but still didn't care because she wanted that shock value. Either way, she's going to be on national news declaring herself illegal and now having to go out there. And this morning, the paper's talking about, well, we took it out of context. I watched the whole thing. I got involved with the story, and then at the end, it's like, and I'm illegal. What?
Yeah,
she didn't come back and say she was.
Additional context, it's still.
It's ishy.
It has the same weight. It has the same value, but it's also just not true. So I'm not sure why she said that. I think a better phrase would have been like, oh, I am technically here illegally. I got here illegally because her father did kind of fudge some paperwork, as you said, in order to come here.
We don't use fudged in the law. I have a child who's now a lawyer. They don't use fudged anymore. They got rid of fudged as an English language. No, so you're right. She should have went on and said, but I've made myself legal since, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that isn't how she hung it out. The other one that got me, which probably won't get a lot of play because they do this all over, and I don't know if you saw this, but the number of Democrats on the other side, and if you watch, it makes you feel bad inside, was 20,000 people. This is a quote, 20,000 people will be left to die if they got rid of this health insurance. Megan, they've only had it since January. They got health insurance in January. Now they will die in June if you vote against it. I think they overplay their hand to a point where you get almost callous to it, right? I mean,
Well, and I honestly, with the healthcare for undocumented immigrants, I thought it would be a little bit more. I mean, I guess it was party lines, but you had the Senate Majority Leader and the House Minority Leader, both Democrats, jump onto, Republican side of
See-
this is all part of what happened the last 2 weeks. I think we talked about a couple weeks ago about
Yeah.
these little secret committees that weren't public because they didn't have a quorum, but this is everything that was happening behind the scenes where all these little bargaining chips were being thrown on the table. They were figuring out where can we give, where can we take. This is
This is what I heard through my sources, and I don't have very good sources, as you know, but this is what I heard. That the powers that be on both sides said if any of these controversial votes go by party lines, because they all needed one to switch over, right? Everybody needed somebody on either side. That the powers that be pledged to themselves, they would be that vote. So you've got to give Hortman and Murphy real credit when they did what they said they would do. We said we're going to deliver this. They both did, which can't help them in their parties. I'm giving them credit. Can't help them, but because they couldn't move the ball enough, they fell on that sword, and I give them credit for it. But that was supposed to be all worked out inside. We'll get it. Don't worry about it. And that's kind of ishy in a way, but I give them credit. They did what they said they would do, and they did it. So.
Well, and another thing that all of these conference committees, whatever secret closed meetings were happening on the transportation bill, all of a sudden coming out of left field. I mean, we had special session yesterday. All of a sudden out of left field in this transportation bill is $93 million in a funding shift to the Metropolitan Council. Both parties were like, where did this come from? Like, we never debated this on the floor. We never talked about this in committee during session. This is, the powerful influence of lobbying when these secret meetings were happening.
Good news, bad news. You say the powerful meeting of lobbyists, and I will tell you, they got there in, whoever was in charge of getting the Met Council lobby group, I don't know who they are, boom, they get it in. Good for them. That stuff should never happen. That idea we get behind closed doors because we're in quote unquote a special territory drives me nuts. But on the other side, the lobbyists for those counties, they got an uproar. They turned that momentum shifted in a heartbeat. This could be one of those things afterwards you find out, oh, that kind of sucks. They got on it, and the pressure on those lawmakers to say, we're not doing that one, got there quick. So lobbying on both sides, but the fact that $93 million can be thrown into a bill never been talked about before, that's not cool. I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Yeah, I will say, though, I mean, if we're going to pick winners and losers this session, I will say the counties probably lost. They're seeing significant funding shifts.
Wow.
So all of these little taxes here and there that go to the counties, they get 20% of this tax, 10% of this. Most of that has now kind of been shifted to the state because we're seeing the state is in a really big budget deficit. They're trying to come up with, new funding without raising taxes because the Republicans refuse, but they'll raise them on cannabis. So that's the exception. But anyways, these counties, I do feel for them. I mean, they might have won on this $93 million Met Council funding shift, but they lost in a lot of other areas.
You know who the big winners are? And this is the sneaky one. The big winner, the e-bike people, the pro e-bike people. I don't know how this goes. We are, $6 billion in the hole in 4 years. And we're giving the same amount of money to e-bikes. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to try to give it to poor people. I don't know, Megan. You cities folks drive me nuts. How many poor people got $1,500 to put down for an e-bike and then know that at the end of the year you get $750 back?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm sorry, if you're spending $1,500 for a bike you don't got to pedal, you're not poor.
Yeah,
but the e-bike people kept their money.
Disability is how they shifted it. That was an interesting one.
Well,
the whole thing was a mess last year, even so.
Exactly. And again, if you need an e-bike because of disabilities, I'm not against it. But then not everybody is, so you should be able to save some money. The e-bike people, keep the money. Let's just say it's for different people. Those people won today. We got to go to break. I'm sure there's many more in a $66 billion budget. We'll talk about it after this. I've got her. Megan's News and Review on the Al Travis Show.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
It's Megan's News and Review on the Al Travis Show. What's the next big story, Megan?
I would say probably University of Minnesota's budget.
Oh.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I'm a University of Minnesota alumni. Love the school, but whoa, weird things happening. They're coming out with their budget proposal. I think regents are voting on it this week. They are proposing a 6.5% tuition jump, while they are also cutting 7% of their academic program funding.
This is crazyville. This is the same time, was it a month ago, we found out from one of the representatives in the Education Committee that there's some 2,100 human beings at the University of Minnesota making more than $150,000 a year. There's like 300 making more than the governor. And listen, we're just going to have to cut stuff. We can't keep this up. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the play's there anymore.
The biggest proposed tuition increase in 14 years, and it's 6.5%, I believe, at the Twin Cities campuses. Other campuses have smaller increases, anywhere from like 3.5% to 6%. But this is a lot. So we've got a lot going on here at the University of Minnesota. Obviously, the 7% funding cuts. They tasked all of the deans of the individual schools with figuring out, here's what needs to be cut. But also a lot of this is, federal research dollars and grants that have existed for a long time are also being cut. And so they're being squeezed in that regard and having to make up for it.
But my wife and I were talking about this the other day because of the research cuts. She's like, you're going to cut cancer research, yada, yada. If I'm not mistaken, and maybe I am, tell me if I am, Megan, the government sends the University of Minnesota $20 million for a guy to do research on, let's say, heart attacks. All right, just going to fix the heart attack situation. And a researcher guy comes up with a thing, a pill, a vitamin, a machine, a thing that will help. He then quits the university, takes the patent, and makes his kabillions of dollars. The money doesn't go back to the university because of the patent found, if I'm not mistaken. Now, am I mistaken? That's how I understand the system. We train and find ways of saving, and we're helping these fine doctors become gazillionaires with our research fund. Am I not mistaken on that?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I haven't dug into it too much. I'd be curious to know if that University of Minnesota name is still tied to that individual of like, this is the point of discovery, but I'm not quite sure it does, because I would think that those grant dollars are great, but at the same time, I'm like, well, why don't you just let the private sector?
Well, see, this is my point. If you want to lead toward them finding, great, send them the $20 million. Guess what? When you come up with a discovery that saves the world, that money comes back to the university or comes back to the government so they can take their money back. My point is, it seems like we feed it in and we're making gazillionaires, and I don't like that. But if it saves people, good.
Well, I'm curious to know whoever invented the Honeycrisp apple at the University of Minnesota, if they're a millionaire. Because
and are they sending money back to you?
Always think of the University of Minnesota as the Honeycrisp apple.
Oh, the one that I get, I recall there's some doctor there who's worked with the heart and that sort of thing. He came up with like Church's fried chicken or something. He's an expert in that. Hey, keeping people in business. I have no problem with it. What else has we got for news today, Meg?
Senator Mitchell. So this has kind of been on the back burner. It's been 14 months since the senator broke into her stepmother's home, attempting
allegedly
to steal some of her father's, who had recently passed, belongings. Didn't end up getting anything, was somehow snuck into the basement, somehow ended up in her mother or her stepmom's bedroom. Very weird case, but now it's been 14 months and still kind of no action. So yesterday during the special session, Senator Mitchell quickly grabbed her laptop, left session, returned about an hour later. She had a little remote hearing to kind of kick off her trial that's set to start later this month. So
it starts on the 16th.
I hope we'll have some sort of resolution soon.
What kills me about this story is that you're saying it's kind of on the back burner. Name another time anywhere with a Senate that's matched up 34-33, and one of the senators, after describing what potentially this woman did, this is a back burner issue. There's so much weird crap going on. This is like third page news that this woman could literally be found guilty.
Because it just kept getting delayed. It was supposed to happen earlier this year, and she was like, oh, well, her lawyer argued, I'm a lawmaker, or Senator Mitchell's a lawmaker. She needs to be in session, and then we'll handle this after. That ultimately prevailed. Things got pushed down the line further. I can't believe it takes 14 months to receive a sentence for a crime like this.
Well, this is where
if I broke into someone's home, I would be in court within a month.
This is where we take antiquated laws and we bend and twist them to make them work for us. Blame on both parties. But you see the difference between Mitchell and Eichhorn, right? Eichhorn's out. He was going to be out. They were going to get rid of his butt before he got out of jail, but he's gone. New special session. The world goes on. I get the idea. Back in the day, a cop in Hennepin County could stop all the guys coming with their little buggies and tell them that they're under arrest for some bogus charge, and some stuff couldn't get done. So you can't mess with them during session. I get it. But we're 2 sessions out now. We're 2 sessions down, and she's played that card enough or well enough that she is yet to be charged. You're right. You and I, we get picked up in Grandma's house, in a burglar outfit. We're in trouble. You tell me why we haven't even seen the video yet.
Well, I heard a little bit of chatter online this morning that this video could potentially be coming out. It was originally, I think, some news outlets were appealing to the courts to try and get it.
Alpha News and Upper Midwest Law Center, those guys, they had a trial, I believe, yesterday, are figuring this out. And it should come out in the trial, so maybe we would see it then. But my point is, when that state trooper got in the whole shootout on the highway, right? That was out the next day or something. It seemed like yesterday it was out. And again, that guy works for us, but so does the senator. So maybe I'm missing something why this has been good lawyers, I suppose.
Well, and they are anticipating this to be a speedy-ish trial. It should just take a week. That's what the judge is expecting. I think we can expect that Senator Mitchell's stepmom will have, there'll be chatter about her mental state, her Alzheimer's diagnosis. There might be the welfare check claim that Senator Mitchell is kind of pushing forward. There could be some weight to that. So hopefully we'll be talking about this more with some.
Oh, we'll be talking
2 weeks out.
We'll be talking about it next week for sure. Absolutely. Megan, I'm out of time. Love having you on. It's Megan's News and Review. Love having you.
Yes, thanks for having me on. We'll be back next week talking Senator Mitchell, Minnesota news, and more on the Al Travis Show with Megan's News and Review.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue